Okay, to win a content marketing award is an amazing feeling because you realize it's a friggin' big deal. It's crazy. It's the Academy Awards of content marketing.
This is the Content Marketing Awards, where we recognize some of the greatest work that's being done in our beloved practice.
To be recognized among this group of content professionals who have been really actively elevating our industry means a lot to us. I mean, we really value the judging panels.
I think it makes it a much more elite award to win, that you have experts in the field judging your work and comparing it against the others.
I think there are a few reasons we enter the awards. One, I think it's to express to the clients that the work is really good.
I just think it's really validating. I think it's really culturally additive. I think it helps us in the recruitment, in the retention, in the engagement of our employees. And then again, it's an opportunity for us to showcase their work, both in our institution and then beyond.
It's a very diverse group of contenders, and so you get to see what everyone else is doing in their own spheres, and that helps us up our game.
Magnitude of these awards, I mean, the competition is huge.
It means a lot to get the validation from an organization like the Content Marketing Institute.
It's a real award that we place a lot of value on.
This is one you want to win.
Hello, everyone. It's Amanda with the Content Marketing Institute. We are so happy that you are joining us today for our third episode of Live with CMI. And I'm so excited once again to be joined by my colleague, Joseph J.K. Kalinowski. Happy Tuesday, J.K.
Happy Tuesday. I hope you're doing well. I'm loving this lovely spring weather we're finally getting into. No more snow, fingers crossed.
Oh boy, you just jinxed.
Sorry.
Totally just jinxed us. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. So JK, our very first episode here, we tackled the topic of AI, just AI. And the second episode, we're like, hey, let's go chat about SEO. But of course, we couldn't avoid talking about AI and its impact on search. Are you sensing a theme here? We sort of can't get away from it. So AI is sort of unavoidable here in marketing in 2024. Content operations obviously is no different. So AI and how to operationalize it is really what content marketing leaders are thinking about. So today we're going to tackle that, right?
That's right. So the big question is, can AI really help you work smarter? Today, we're going to get some advice how or if you should integrate AI into your content operations. Plus, what I'm really excited about as well is we're going to be talking about a little thing called nostalgia marketing. And if anybody knows me, I'm all about the nostalgia, as you can tell from my background. So this should be a great show, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, if we had a camera to pan around your little man cave with all your toys and stuff from JK loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Well, before we get to all of that, we want you to know this live stream is brought to you by the Content Marketing Institute. We are the leading training and education organization for, you guessed it, all things content marketing. So you can head on over to contentmarketinginstitute.com for all kinds of great resources. And as you join us today, please give us a virtual wave. Say hello. Let us know where you're joining from. And I already see some of our friends joining today, Andy, Mariah. So thank you, Kim. Kim says, seriously, JK, don't jinx us.
I'm sorry, Kim.
Andy is joining us from San Francisco. She's excited about this topic. We are excited that you're joining us, Sandy. And so, as always, it makes for a more engaging live stream when we hear from all of you. So feel free to drop a question if you have a question for today's awesome guest, or a comment. We will try to get that to them as we go along here today. So let's get the ball rolling today. JK, what is the question of the day?
Well, it seems to be the question of the year. or the last year and a half, but like, how are you approaching the integration of AI into your content operations? And what are some of the most pressing concerns that you might have? Let us know. Drop a question in the chat or send us a question, and we'll be happy to share and kind of share any knowledge that we might have or any expert knowledge that we might come across.
Yes, and I see everyone's checking in here. We have Stacy from Indy, Pharrell from Chicago, Gina from Iowa. It's going fast here. Patricia from Houston, Maria from Mexico. Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you all for joining us. Chrisetia from Ireland. So yeah, thank you. It's so awesome to see all of you. We are excited about today's guest, a good friend of ours here. So how should organizations approach integrating AI into their content operations? We know many of you are struggling with this, with new innovations popping up every day in the space. It can be easy to get distracted and maybe just a little bit frustrated. So that's why it's important to have just a clear roadmap in hand. So you have the people, processes, technology are all in sync. And we certainly have, who do we have today to help us with this, JK?
Well, to help us with that, we have friend and family member of CMI, the one and only Cathy McKnight from the Content Advisory joining us today. So Cathy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So yes, as we get going here, we do have Carrie. She answered our question of the day. She says, I'm interested in hearing about content remix. I was on a demo call the other day and was really intrigued. I think that would be great help for our organization. So she's interested in hearing about that. Well, let's start here, Cathy. If I'm planning to re-engineer my content operations around AI, I really kind of need to know, like, what are the benefits I stand to gain, so I know where it makes the most sense to put it in. So how do you gauge what the impacts of your AI generated efforts are going to be?
Oh, this is such a good question. We actually ran a webinar in January about getting ready for AI, right? So what's all the work that you need to do in order to know really how is this going to impact? Because I mean, throwing AI, it's not a technology problem, first and foremost. A lot of people look at a lot of organizations, treat it like a technology problem, and it's not. It's a strategy problem. So in order to make sure you have that strategy, one, you need to have a content strategy or content marketing strategy, as the case may be, and as well understand where you are, right? You want to be able to meet your team where they are from a technological standpoint, from a maturity standpoint, from an acceptance standpoint, all of those things. And really, what are you trying to gain? What's the goal? So, AI can do things like improve team efficiency and productivity, making space for marketers and content marketers to do the things that they're really good at, that they want to do, the creative, that value add, the human element that AI, no matter how good, just cannot do, at least not yet. What about the quality of content, right? Running things through a brand voice check automatically, spell check, using terminology, those kind of things. So quality check. Content personalization at scale. I think this is one of the biggest impacts that companies will see positive return on in the investment that it will take to get AI and Gen AI sorted out within their org, because this is about meeting your customers where they are, how they want it, and contextually. And AI is a massive, massive enabler of that. And then other things like you guys just did a session on SEO. This can absolutely enhance SEO, as well as things like multivariant testing. So there's so many things, but you got to know what you want to do. So I think, you got to set your goals first, I think would be the first step to knowing where to start.
Which is what we say about everything when it comes to content, right? Everyone just jumps right in.
Yep.
What's next, JK?
Yeah, well, kind of piggybacking off that, Cathy, teams need to examine, you just mentioned, like, teams need to examine their workflows and, maybe audit their processes where their biggest bottlenecks and deficits are when it, rather than just plugging AI in willy-nilly to wherever it may work or where they think it may work. What are some of the processes you recommend for approaching those tasks? Like kind of plugging those holes and figuring out where their deficits are.
So I think the first thing, and this might be the most difficult thing to get heads around is you've got to actually understand your current practices and processes, right? So what's actually happening, not what the workflow says is supposed to happen, not what the governance documents say, if you have any, is supposed to go on, but what is actually happening? What are the steps and who are involved in getting content from that ideation all the way through to production, creation, production, publication, distribution, and then eventually archive, right? So to do that, you got to get teams together. So stakeholders, the teams that are doing it, the stakeholders that are asking for the content, the strategists, the leadership, as diverse of a team as you can, get them together and have a working session to actually document and capture current state, right? And accurately. And the more collaborative this could be, the better it's going to turn out. So I love doing this as a working session where you get people in a room, massive whiteboards or papers, pens, etc., and you actually map it out and do the workflow, and you can do it electronically or old school with descriptions, right? So you start by documenting and visualizing the workflow. Then once you're in agreement, that's why it's so important to have your stakeholders there, then you start looking at pain points and bottlenecks, right? Where are the hiccups? Where are things getting stalled? Where are the problems? Absolutely, we can't talk marketing without talking data. So you got to bring data in. What are the key KPIs that have been set up? Hopefully you have some, as well as far as things like productivity, efficiency, turnaround time, resource allocation. All of those things need to be considered into the workflow and how work is actually getting done. Because if you don't understand that, if you don't have the data behind it, then it's really hard to prioritize where AI can have the biggest impact. Prioritize and set goals. What do you want to come out of this? Are you talking, do you want gained efficiencies? Do you want an increase in production of content? Is it about saving money? Is it about fewer resources? Is it about content variety? So understanding what the priority is will help you again narrow down what to fix first and where to apply the Gen AI. And then, then once you understand all that, you can start looking at, okay, what tools are best going to fit, right? And then what's the plan to keep them going? Because it is an evolution. It's not a one and done.
Right.
Absolutely. Pharrell says, get ready to get ready. That's perfect. Where do you even start when things change daily? So hopefully Cathy gave you a little help there. Saj says, strategic change management coupled with what you're trying to achieve use case wise is very important. And Andy says, she's fed a bunch of my original writing in AI, asked it to tell me to describe my writing style so I could turn it around and apply it to future prompts as well.
That's great.
And to Andy's point, here's from Sandy, learning how to prompt in AI is really important, but being careful that the time it takes to prompt isn't longer than just creating yourself. It's balancing. That's one thing that I'm always kind of worried about, like figuring it out. That tech takes longer than actually like what it's supposed to be helping me save the time.
Right. And just to, going off Cathy's last point as well, Cathy, I think you made a wonderful point in saying, when you map it out and figure out where those problems are specifically, then you can tie the technology to it, because there's so much technology out there and there's new stuff coming out on the daily. Yeah. And it's becoming so niche and so specific that I think it might actually be, to go old school, like you said, either electronically or whatever, sit down with your team and have the data and figure it all out. Because then you can start plugging those holes instead of, like I said, willy-nilly, we can just use this AI to do this or to do that. To specifically know what your problems are, there's going to be an AI to fix it.
Absolutely. And you make a really good point, JK, in that, there's a decision to be made by humans on this side, right? As to where are we going to start with AI? But you really want to understand where your current challenges are, where are the bottlenecks, where is the least efficient point, where's the greatest gain to be had. So you want that empirically, you want that anecdotally, you want that from the stakeholders, right? Right. If you then you can choose from an organizational standpoint, say, okay, we get that, but this is where we want to start. And it's okay to make that decision. You do not have to go with what the data is telling you, but know that at least you are making that conscious choice, of where to start.
Yep.
That's a good point. Well, we're talking to Cathy McKnight here about how to, integrate the AI into your content operations. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments and we'll try to get to them. So let's chat a bit about governance. So how do we go about creating and documenting the standards for all of this?
So governance is governance and change management are the first things that drop off any project plan, right? It's like, oh, we're going to get to it. It's like phase 2 of when technology used to be on-prem, and I'm showing how old I am. That phase 2 improvement, right? Oh yeah, we'll put that functionality in phase 2. Well, governance and change management. Oh yeah, let's get this stuff done first, then we'll get on there. But having clear governance, particularly when it comes to AI, is really important. Where it can be used, where it can't, how it can be applied, what are the rules of engagement, how is the learning model going to be managed, who has access, all of those things, right? So you've got to start again at the beginning. What are the goals for your governance? You might want to start off small and just focus it on the AI element if you don't have any other governance around it, so that you can get that documented. Build a framework, right, that talks about the structure, the processes, the responsibilities, what content is going to be included in terms of allowing it to have some AI interaction, and what's out of scope, how it has to go through from a review cycle, those kind of things. You need standards, right? So what are the standards from the organization? Things like content creation, data quality, privacy, security, that's all of those things. How are those going to be handled? Communicate and educate. These are elements that, again, the part of change management that often gets dropped. You need to let people know what's happening, what's planned, how you got there. So it's, the old adage of tell them what you're going to tell them what you're telling them, and then tell them what you told them. That reinforcement, right? Constant communication, and teach people right now, AI is such a big thing, and we've been around it now for, well on past a year. So people feel they should know more sometimes. So provide them opportunity to learn where they're not necessarily sitting in the corner, go, oh, I have all these questions, but I don't want to ask them. Be proactive in the education, and make sure that you're giving education and requiring it so that everybody is starting from the same baseline. Right? Monitoring and enforcement mechanisms are essential. So how is it being used? Who's using it most? Where is its output? What are the most common things like tracking, like prompts? Amanda, you made a great point. I've seen many a case or heard many people say, oh my God, AI is supposed to help, but it's taking me like 3 times as long. I could have just written the piece by then. Well, that's the kind of thing you got to measure, right? It's all about efficiencies, but also tracking prompts. Get prompt training. There was all that buzz. I don't know if you guys remember, I guess it was February-ish last year, where, prompt engineer is the next new job. It's going to take over the world, and CMOs are out, and it's all going to be, not the case. A lot of technologies now are actually integrating prompt support. So they're giving you that baseline to start, right? And it's really actually quite easy to learn. So Google and take a class, but offer it up, make sure it's there. And this is a continuous improvement and evolution approach. So as the tools change, as it's allowed to do more, as it gets smarter, as the company gets more mature, you need to keep people updated and trained on that.
Yeah. And
For sure.
I guess the other part of it is, and you touched on this, like how to get people to accept it, but some people are fearing, or it's going to take their jobs and they're going to go away. So like, how do we get people on board with all of this? Rally our teams around it, like rah, we should really, get on this train, but that's really hard. People are tired right now.
They are. Change, as I mentioned, change management often gets dropped, but change management and clear communications. Unequivocally, be open, transparent, and conversational with the teams involved, right? Why are you introducing AI? What does it mean for them? There will be a blanket, this is how we're using AI and this is why, but you need to take it the next step and the WIFM statement in. Like, what does this mean for them, right? Build that shared vision of what it's going to be and how it's going to help. talk about the value, right? As I mentioned earlier, training and support. Create that baseline, make it required. Everybody needs to take, course sections 1 through 5. And then if you want to move beyond that, great. We have all of this other information as well, depending on your defined role within the governance model that you have so clearly set out with goals and expectations, right? And I think one of the things we need to, we're telling a lot of people that, oh, don't worry, you're not going to lose your job. Well, rather than just tell them, how it's not going to lose they're not going to lose their job, is tell them why this is actually securing their job. Explain to them how AI can actually take away some of that route, mundane, repetitive, time-sucking work that we've all gotten into because of the overload of technology. AI is actually going to alleviate some of that and create more space for, like I said, the human things, right? Putting in the emotion and the other elements that AI is just not ready to do that. And then talk about the successes, right? So this is how, look at this great instance, not only of how people are using it as planned, but look at this other fun stuff. So encourage and provide an opportunity for people to explore and use it in new and different ways that can eventually maybe make it into the roadmap of how it's going to be used for the whole company.
Right. So if it's more rather than like, oh, it's just another thing I have to do or I have to learn, make it interesting, something they might enjoy.
Absolutely.
So Saj said the last place I was at had an internal LLM platform, and they laid out all the acceptable uses for it and a legal statement before you could log in. Sandy says your governance plan should be as dynamic as content and tech. It's never one and done. I'm with Cathy on this.
Yeah.
And add everyone and show them how to use the documents, especially when you have turnover. Very important. And Pharrell says education expectation setting, important for everything.
Amen.
And Heather says, in my opinion, people who don't use AI will lose their jobs to other people who do use AI. As well.
Yeah. Well, Amanda, that is a perfect segue into this question I have for Cathy. Cathy, as we wrap up, as AI is not going away. I mean, it's not just going to fade away like some other trends that have come and gone in the marketing realm and the whatever. But we have to learn to work with it. So we had some wonderful, comments in our section today, and you brought some wonderful points up. But what are some of the skills you recommend content marketers acquire or, maybe sharpen to collaborate with AI a little bit more effectively? And then conversely, if I'm an organization and I'm looking to hire, what should I look for in a future applicant?
Yeah, those are really good questions. And I would say there's probably overlap. So we'll talk about them in chunks. But
Sure.
I think from an individual perspective, and I may be a little biased in this because I am a techno geek from that perspective, but technology and data literacy has never been more important than it is today. Many people in our realm of content have gotten away thus far without really having to dig in and understand how to leverage data. I think those times are gone. If you don't understand how to go into say a Tableau database or report and dig in and glean the information and look for different things that will enable you to build better content programs and content marketing elements, then you're going to get left behind, right? So same thing goes from a technology standpoint, understanding the basics of AI and machine learning, how it works, how to use them fundamentally and effectively is really important, as well as making sure that you understand how to pull those things together, right? So how can you enable and leverage data into an AI environment to make what you're producing better, which leads into critical thinking and analysis. So data interpretation, AI output, understanding and how to judge it from a quality perspective, prompt engineering for sure, understanding how to build a good prompt. Commas are your friend here, people. Gen AI does not like run-on sentences, so make sure that there is clarity, break it out into steps and brackets and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Apply, as marketers, we are innately creative. So take that creativity and lean into innovation, right? Do some AI brainstorming, learn how to use it from a personal standpoint. I mean, personal as in the work you need to execute, not just on the deliverable that you need to do. So how can you get part of the way there? Outlines for long form papers, summaries of long form papers that you need to do an analysis on. There are so many different ways. So start playing around and start thinking, taking your creative brain and applying it to the technology, right? Ethics and bias awareness is something that we should all be aware of and better at in general, full stop, whether it's AI, whether it's technology, or just in general. I think we all need to be better at that. And those who can talk to that fluently and execute and show how they apply it, I think will be a level up on those who can't. And you've got to want to learn, right? So somebody who's not interested in building or can't show that, I've upped my skill set over the years this way, that would be something that I would shy away from as a hiring manager. Is I want somebody who's going to want to learn, who's going to want to lean in and not just take the training that I want them to take, but are just proactively staying up on what's going on.
Awesome.
Yeah. And quickly, I guess, on organizations, adaptable and flexible. If you're not willing to pivot and change and try new things, then they're going to be a weight on the team, right? I think now more than ever, a collaborative mindset is critical. Willing to work with others from that perspective, and from a team environment. Judgment, again, the ethics and bias, and lifelong learning. Again, those two I think are critical things that most organizations now. I don't think you go through an interview where you're not asked about, talk to me about a situation where you've been in where there's been, an ethical or bias decision or conflict, and then what have you learned lately?
Exactly.
We've been talking about this, but like if you're on LinkedIn, Cathy, it seems like everybody is so ahead and like you're already far behind. But like from your experience working with clients, like what's kind of the reality out there? Everyone's sort of still trying to figure it out. Like what's your reality?
You might, if you haven't even, if you don't know what LLM stands for yet, then yeah, I'd say you're probably a little bit behind. Large learning model for those who don't, there's no shame. But it's time to start picking up the lingo and understanding what generative AI in general is, how it works, and what it can do, and not being so afraid, right? I don't think people are feeling that companies are way further ahead than they actually are. And when I say that, don't get me wrong, there are companies out there who are like, holy moly, what they're doing is advanced, and the progress that they have made and how far they have come in under 2 years is truly remarkable. I mean, we've been adopting content and marketing related technology for a really long time. And I've never seen technology adopted the way this has. Some really badly, with disastrous results, others really, really well. So no, you're not behind. Start playing with it. There's a lot of free tools out there that you can start using and get comfortable with and see what output looks like and how to start building, like I said, prompts, and comments are your friend. But I think too, getting good enough and understanding it enough that when it does start implementing it, your company, that you have an opinion, that you have voice, that you can say, hey, have you thought about this, to show that you really understand.
Awesome. And let's leave with Roland's comment here. Every transformative change that's ever happened has obtained the greatest advantage from those who are able to combine the old knowledge with the new ways of working. I love that. So Thank you so much, Cathy, for joining us today. Where can people find you or connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn, Cathy with a C McKnight, and our company website is contentadvisory.net, and you can also follow me on my own podcast, which is unchartedjourneys.net.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time, Cathy. So
thanks for having me.
Have a great week.
All right.
Thank you so much, Cathy. Take care.
Bye.
That was great, as always, our wonderful friend Cathy there. So thank you. You guys, the chat is crazy today. You guys are sharing all kinds of great stuff. We love it. Love to see that.
The chat is so fantastic. It's like answering questions. Like they're answering their own questions, and it's just so lively. I cannot wait to go through all of these after we're done, because it looks like a very active and informative conversation going on.
Absolutely. So before we go today, we wanted to share something a little fun. And I don't know if you've noticed, JK, but the 90s are back, baby. I'm a 90s baby.
Oh, yes. I mean, come on. Bring back some Crystal Pepsi. And I'm yearning for my days of like oversized flannel and Doc Martens, and as you well know, I miss my skater hair, but oh man, the 90s were so great.
Yes, they were. And I like, some of if you go to the store, it's pretty throwback 90s, and some of it should probably stay in the 90s. But there is some things that like I couldn't buy when I was a kid that I am looking like so forward to buying as an adult. Like I couldn't do that when I was a kid, so now I can afford to buy it. So I am excited about that. So if you subscribe to our newsletters, you may have seen Monday, Kim Moutsos wrote about nostalgia marketing and how it's back. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, there's a link to subscribe. But she highlighted an ad by Blockbuster that recently won a creativity award. So hopefully you all out there know what Blockbuster is. But if you don't know, there actually is one Blockbuster, one rental store still open. I think it's the only one in the world in Bend, Oregon. And I totally missed this last year. I don't know if you saw it, but during the Super Bowl, thanks to their agency, Atlantic New York, Blockbuster ran a hyper local Super Bowl ad. And I'm talking hyper local, right, JK?
They did. Well, what's so fantastic is I watched a little bit of a documentary on this specific the last Blockbuster, and they still use the original programming, like in like the invoicing and all the original programming from the 90s on this really old computer that has not been updated since the last Blockbuster. Like the chain and franchises have closed. So I mean, it is insane. And of course, we all remember the Be Kind Rewind if you're a child of the 90s,
Forgot about that.
Pre-DVD. But anyway, yes, this last Blockbuster aired this ad that went hyperlocal. They played it on a videotape. It was actually played on a videotape, and they streamed it live on Instagram. And that's it. But it gained a ton of organic media attention. So let's take a look at it. Let it roll.
Here we go.
When the world ends and the internet streams no more, we'll still be here.
Hey, Steve.
Awesome.
I mean, come on. How great was that? I mean, it definitely deserved to win that Tiny but Mighty award by Ad Age. I mean,
that was great. I missed it. I totally missed this. I thought this was awesome.
I remember seeing it, and I was completely blown away that it was what I think right now specifically where it's gaining more traction, and Kim brought up some good points about it in our newsletter, but with obviously the nostalgia factor, but look at the popularity of nostalgia across the board, not just marketing. I mean, one of the biggest shows right now on Amazon Prime is Fallout, which is basically it fits perfectly with this ad. It's like after a nuclear holocaust, the only thing it's going to be surviving are cockroaches and Blockbuster.
That's true.
Absolutely. Did someone just say in our chat that they they had a Blockbuster card.
Yeah, once they had a card. I love this. Stacy says her mom was carded once at an event, and when she opened her wallet, revealing a Blockbuster card, the guy was like, "Nah, never mind. I know how old you are." I might still have one somewhere. I am not sure. I bet I do. I'll have to go. If I find it, I'll bring it next time.
I am sure there's someone somewhere in this office. I still have that little yellow and blue card with the faded signature, and it was laminated. Yeah. I recall.
Yeah, that was so crazy. I'm so mad when the videos were all gone on the movie that you wanted to see.
Friday night, just Friday night. I mean, it was tradition. Friday night, greasy pizza and a horrible movie
from your VHS tape.
And then get it back so you didn't have to pay the late fee.
Yes. Our kids have no idea how easy they have it these days. Anyway, we love that. That was great. They definitely deserved that award for sure. So, all right, we have so much stuff going on here at CMI. And in case you missed it, we actually had an event last week on our Master This webinar series on data storytelling. So in today's data-driven marketing landscape, understanding the human element and data storytelling is crucial as interpreting all of those analytics. So if you want to elevate your marketing game by leveraging the power of human behavior, then you can check out this great webinar on demand. The link is right there. We will also drop it into the chat. And as we wrap up to here today, we have a bunch of other things going on at CMI we want to make sure you know about, right, JK?
We do. We have content tech coming up. If you want to pull up we have the summit on, if you want to dive deeper into content operations, technology, and everything we talked about with Cathy, CMI is hosting our Content Tech Summit on May 15th and 16th. And this year, it is online and free to attend. We'll be opening up registration in the next couple of days, so go to the link on the screen so you don't miss out. And then also our Content Marketing Awards. The 2024 awards entry deadline is coming up soon on May 19th. If you created content marketing masterpiece over the past year, you should be celebrated for your hard work, obviously. So head over to the CMA website to check out the categories to submit your entries.
We love to award them. We love to award our content marketers for their work. And we've had a record number of speaking proposals. Proposals come in for Content Marketing World. So our team is very busy building an agenda packed with some of the freshest thinking and how-to guidance to spark your inspiration. So early bird rates are in effect, so hurry, get your ticket today. And if you want a little discount, you can use our special code, JK and I, for Live 100, and we'll save you $100 on your registration. And go to contentmarketingworld.com. And speaking of Spark, JK, you helped come up with the theme here. So here's our little theme. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, we were kicking around some ideas for the theme for Content Marketing World 2024, and we had this wonderful idea with the team. Special thanks to Amy and Stephanie on the CMI team. We discussed, what active word could we use this year that really just, kind of encapsulates everybody's thoughts, in regards to what's going on in the marketing world, and so we come up with Spark, spark your, and it's kind of cool, spark your creativity, especially with everything that we're talking about right now, spark your humanity with the hyper focus on AI, so it was a really fun project, and I'm so super excited for Content Marketing World 2024, especially since it is in sunny and wonderful San Diego, California, one of my favorite cities in the world. So
yeah, it'll be nice to be back out there. We hope that you will join us. If you've never heard of it, head over to contentmarketingworld.com to learn some more information. So thank you all for joining us today and having a lively chat as well. Like I said, makes for a more engaging live stream when we hear from all of you. And I hope you're following us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. We're constantly posting new content, video content. Every Friday at 9 a.m., Robert Rose delivers his advice on what's new in marketing and what you really need to know and how it affects real marketers. So last week he gave a great perspective on the whole Tesla marketing meltdown. So I highly recommend checking that out. We just, over this month, we've been doing some fun stuff like releasing our Meet the Team videos so you can see the people who work behind the scenes here at CMI. So that's fun. So be sure to follow us on all of those places. So JK, I guess we'll be back next month. We switched our topics around. We're gonna do analytics next month with a very awesome guest. Rand Fishkin will be joining us. So we're very excited about that.
Heck yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So if you have any questions for him, like message one of us, let us know so we can be sure to ask him and or drop it into the comments so we can ask him whatever you guys need to know. So I think that was a very more action-packed than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Today.
That was awesome. I truly appreciate everyone that made this such a lively conversation today. And like I said, I cannot wait. Amanda and I cannot wait to dig through all of these comments and, kind of keep the conversation going. Because I know I'm going to learn a lot from everything that keeps popping up on the right side of my screen here. I'm really excited to look through it. So thank you so much to everybody that attended. And if you have any more questions, or if you want us to, engage with Cathy a little bit more, if you have any questions for her, please reach out to us, connect with her on LinkedIn as well. It's been super fun today and super informative. So thank you all.
All right. So thank you all. Have a great week, and we will see you next month.